Okay, welcome to Basement Movie Room. Sorry for the restart there if you're on Twitch, but we had a microphone issue. My microphone was not picking up at all, and you were probably picking me up over there, but that would have sounded terrible.
Yeah.
But now my microphone is picking up, and we are good to go. And, so Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3, The Convert. Again, what are your thoughts on this episode?
I forgot what I said last time, but I think I really enjoyed this episode. It brought in a lot of elements from past shows that I like Rebels, a little bit from Clone Wars, of course, and just a little bit of Andor.
Yeah, like I said the first time, you got a little Andor in the Mandalorian soup.
Little Andalorian
yes.
episode here.
TM.
Yeah.
Mandalorian TM.
Yeah.
So
it was glorious.
So yeah, I really like this episode as well. It's very nice world building, and I think we say that in a lot of episodes, but that's what it is. They're building a world for the Mandalorian, and they're doing it based on success of other shows. Andor was an amazing show. If you haven't watched Andor, watch Andor.
I think when we say world building, that's a good thing.
It's
for
a good
show.
Thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not only world building for like the world of Andor, Mandalorian and Andor, but you're also getting a little world building in regards to probably Ahsoka, which is coming up soon, and to bring in more characters to the Mandalorian.
It's kind of everything outside of Star Wars that you know.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. So we'll get right into the episode. So we open up in the mines of Mandalore. Bo Katan, of course, saved Mando, saved Din Djarin from the mines of Mandalore, where he sunk into the mines. She saves him. She sees the mythosaur, but we open up this episode with him waking up in the mines, just on the steps there that he had gone down last episode, and he wakes up and says, basically he doesn't really say thanks, but it's in his own way. And Bo kind of tells him, I saved you. And he's like, did it used to be this deep? And she's like, no, there must have been some seismic activity from all the fusion bombs, which I didn't say this in the first time we were doing this. So you're getting bonus content.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, that's what she said. It's deeper than it looks. So she does not tell him that she saw the mythosaur. She asked him if he saw anything down there. And he said, no, I was out. And she does not tell him. She hides it. And I think I understand where she's coming from on this. She feels like her power has all been taken away. And now that she's seen the mythosaur, she's got a little bit of that power back, being the leader of Mandalore. Mm-hmm. Which, in my opinion, it's pretty clear she's the leader.
Or she realizes that this guy is kind of the real deal, too. Because the mythosaur didn't take him out.
Yeah, no.
He had
And also, she in the last episode, she kind of saw what he was doing, and it kind of, I think, had an impact on her. She definitely felt like the power in his cult. I'm going to say cult because I don't know. But
that's what she calls
Children of the Watch are a cult, essentially. They don't take off their helmets, and she's never lived like that. She's lived as a normal Mandalorian who takes off their helmet. And kind of weirdly, if you go back to like Clone Wars and Rebels, Paz Vizsla, who is a character in this, his not that long ago, Pre-Vizsla was the Death Watch in Rebels and Clone Wars.
Oh yeah,
was a friend of Clan Cruz. So it's kind of like how did some of these guys get into this Children of the Watch, and some of them weren't like as cultish as that. So, but anyway, that's kind of a tangent. Watch Rebels. I say it every episode.
It'll come back.
Rebels, because it's fantastic, and it's going to give you a lot of information in regards to this show, like those space wells.
Rebels is probably the best prequel.
It's so good. Yeah.
It
takes place between episode 3 and episode 4.
3, 1, 3, great for us in a sense.
One-ish.
One-ish. But Rebels. Dive into it, stick with it.
Yeah, definitely.
There's so much good stuff. I mean, we keep saying that.
I'm gonna say Stick with it through season 1. Because season 1 is a little rough. They had not found our footing. It's very kiddie in season 1. But season 2 through... It's 4 seasons, right? 2 through 4.
You're going to get...
Are just amazing Star Wars.
You might get one of your favorite Jedi that doesn't make it.
Kane and Jared.
Yeah. I mean, just...
You get a lot of Darth Maul.
Check it out.
If you love Darth Maul, which I absolutely did. Darth Maul... Amazing. You get a lot of Darth Maul. Get some Obi-Wan in Rebels. Anyway.
That storyline. Yeah. We're going to have to do a Rebels podcast.
God, I would do it.
Yeah,
I would do it. I need to rewatch it again because Rebels is like top end Star Wars.
Maybe after Mandalorian, we get to Rebels.
Yeah, we might have to do that. We might have to do some Rebels podcast. Just recap the whole series. It's not that long.
Nerd out like we're going to nerd out later in this episode.
That's right. That's what we're doing. Anyway, back to this episode. So, Bo and Mando and Grogu leave the planet in Bo's ship because Grogu left the N1 starfighter on Bo's planet, whatever that is, the moon or whatever she lives on.
Bo Katan's.
Yeah, Bo Katan.
Yeah,
Bo Katanville is on it.
Yeah, I forget what they call it.
They leave the planet, and as they're flying back in, they get attacked by some very familiar starfighters from Rebels. And they're flying away, and Bo's like, I can't outrun them. They're damaging our shield. Mando has to get on one of the guns, and of course take some of them out. And they get back to her planet, and he's like, hey, you got to get me to the N1. I can help. And so he does an amazing, he jumps out of the ship, full speed, drop ship, kind of like a drop trooper. Deal, where he drops in on the N1, gets on the N1, and starts helping with Bo. Bo's, struggling because her ship's big. It's not really made for speed. It's not really made to fight these guys. They'll get a nice canyon run because any flying...
We kind of pulled that move tonight in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You're in the helicopter. I jumped out.
Yeah.
Hit the parachute down.
Yeah.
Hit the brakes. Got down.
That's right.
Yeah. Took out a couple.
We did do that.
Yeah, we did do that.
We took out some guys.
We're not that good at Call of Duty.
We're not that great.
But we're pretty awesome. Check us out.
I got 6 kills that game. No big deal.
Yeah.
We finished 9.
It's fine. Yeah.
Whatever.
Ish.
Ish. So him, Mando and Bo do take out all the starfighters. She does it flying through a canyon. She's like, I flew through these canyons all the time. It's been a while because she's kind of not doing it great. But Mando and the N1 the N1, that thing outmatches TIE fighters. That thing's faster and better than the TIE fighters.
Yeah, Mando even brings it up. He's like, it's too fast for me to handle.
Yeah, it's super
at times.
fast.
Yeah.
Spinning is a cool trick, though.
No, it's so great.
Yeah.
So it works.
So they take out the TIE fighters that are after him, and then Bo starts heading back to her home, her little castle, and there's bombers bombing her castle. They destroys Bo's home, and she's like, they destroyed my home. And she goes after him, and all of a sudden, Mando on his screen gets a lot of other TIE fighters coming. And these TIE fighters are interceptors. They're TIE interceptors. They are specifically Thrawn's TIE fighters.
Gotta be coming from.
It's Thrawn's TIE fighters. And even Bo Katan makes it this is too many TIE fighters for a simple war run. So we are clearly getting Thrawn mentioned here. And we've got a viewer. I hope you want to comment. Please comment. We'd love to talk with you in this episode. So we definitely have some Thrawn here coming in. And I'm sorry if that's a spoiler.
Spoiler
if you don't know
from...
who the hell Thrawn is. What are you doing? Because, he's huge.
Yeah, 90s, and then they...
Yeah, Timothy
another
Zahn.
thing, Zahn, and then they brought him in to Rebels, which check it out if you haven't.
Amazing.
The later, 3, 4, 5 of Rebels, they really brought him in.
Yeah,
and that's when
the
Rebels was
seasons,
just
oof. And that's he's kind of the main bad.
It plays into everything.
It's setting up a lot by seeing those TIE fighters because it's almost certainly Thrawn. So
So Star Wars sort of has a plan with Filoni. With Filoni. Yeah, man. So and it or not, they have a plan.
And then that ends, and we jump to our tangent. We do not get Mando for a long time in this episode. Not at all. We get a little Andor in our Mando.
I wonder if they shot this at the same time.
So we jump to Coruscant. It's the first time seeing Coruscant for a while. I think we saw it in Andor. I do think we saw it in Andor, just a little bit. I think there was a little bit of it in Andor. But we jump to Coruscant.
Oh, yeah.
And we're dealing... We see Dr. Pershing, who we had not seen since end of the first season, maybe second season. I can't remember when last time we saw Pershing in Mando.
That was season 2.
Yeah. We saw Pershing, and we also get Elia Kane, who was another of Gideon's people. She was a communications officer on our ship. She was a pretty big role, actually, in that. So Pershing is giving a speech, and he's explaining how he's becoming part of the New Republic, and it's great that they're giving amnesty to all these old, like, Empire soldiers. Which, what the hell else are they going to do, honestly? There's millions of these guys, and most of them were conscripted. Most of them weren't, like, evil people for working for the Empire. I'm sure there were. It's kind of like the Nazi Party in Germany.
Just doing a job.
Yeah.
They were supposed to.
Like the Nazis in Germany. They were the Nazi Party, and then there was the German Army. They weren't the same thing. These guys...
They weren't the SS. They were the regular...
They're just a regular rank and file. Rank and file of the Army. So we meet Pershing. He gives a big speech about how great it is, and we see the amnesty program where these Empire soldiers are taken in, and they have to kind of conform and prove their worth to Pershing. Of course, is a scientist. He was working on cloning, of course, and we saw like he had done Snoke and things like that in the early seasons.
Yeah, episode 2 showed a little bit of Snoke-ish.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, it was definitely Snoke. Yeah. So after that,
stage,
he leaves that, and he takes a ride with this very chatty droid. It's very chatty. It's a weird little ride, and it gives me bad memories of Attack of the Clones because of the ride. And I hate Attack of the Clones. If you haven't watched our Star Wars prequels episodes,
he loves it.
I really hate it. I have a real problem with it. It's in my brain, and I just want to kill it. Okay,
we're gonna rewatch.
I wish it didn't exist. So it gives me a little Clone Wars phenomenon there. But anyway, he gets back to the housing for the amnesty program, and for some reason, the amnesty program, and I think it's a terrible idea. They only talk to him and call them by their numbers. It's like you're dehumanizing these people. The New Republic is fucking terrible. I'm just gonna say it. They're not good at their jobs. They don't know what they're doing.
No.
From this episode, at least, they're bad.
They're pretty much in jail.
Yeah, it's jail.
They're free to roam, but they're constantly being
to a certain area.
Yeah, they're constantly being, checked on.
Yeah, it's like the New Republic is as incompetent as the Empire was.
Yeah.
Ultimately, is what this episode is trying to show.
Which, I mean, that's kind of how history is.
Yeah.
It kind of repeats itself in this sense.
I mean, if we would have done the right thing after World War I, World War II would have never happened. But they were incompetent, and it caused World War II.
World War II, we did a little better job.
And obviously, we're setting up the New Order here. I think it's clearly what... Is that what they are? No, First Order. First Order. So I said New Order.
Yeah.
NWO, baby. Wolfpack.
Oh, wait. That was West Side. Yeah, I did West Side.
You did West Side.
I did West Side. I don't know what this was.
It's
I
like
can't.
The West Side and the East Side.
I did Spock. Stupid Spock
so,
over here.
So Pershing returns to the amnesty housing, and there's some people outside having some drinks at the amnesty housing. And kind of cool little magnetic cups they're using. They're all stacked up and everything, but that's not important. So he meets
I can't wait for that.
Elia Kane here, who was the communications officer for Gideon. So they knew each other before. And they're talking like, hey, what did you miss from, the Empire? And he's like, oh, I missed the travel snacks or whatever they are, the yellow travel snacks. And everybody's like, oh, really? Seriously? But anyway, that's not important. But it kind of is important. I talked for a long time.
I kind of felt like this portion was a lot reminiscent of Knights of the Old Republic, where you're walking through the streets.
Yeah.
And you even got the old, all tin guys walking through.
Yeah.
that are part of the, well, they were part of the Empire.
Yeah.
But they're part of the New Republic now. But it's like, hey, back off.
Yeah.
You know? It's kind of that.
Yeah.
I felt like this was part of that game.
Yeah.
And I'm just, you know, I'm just kind of...
Coruscant's in that game.
Yeah, I'm just kind of praying, you know, hoping that we get some of that coming forward, you know.
Dumb not to do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're so overdone not to do it.
Yeah, it really needs.
Come on, man.
Stuff.
Yeah. They're gonna make so much more money if they jump into that era.
Well,
okay.
Going to the
not gonna dive into that right now.
They're going to the High Republic, obviously.
Yeah.
The High Republic, which is not one old Republic, but in any case, Pershing and Elia Kane kind of form a little bond because they served together and they knew each other. So she kind of, you know, encourages them to go out and see things. And the really cool part, which is on the TV right now, is Coruscant's like a full city planet, a planet that's a city, and they call it something like I can't remember what they call it, but there's a name for it. But there's one rock that is the highest mountain on Coruscant that's poking through the city. So the city's clearly above the planet. And kind of a funny moment, she tells him to go touch it, and he gets in trouble for doing it, and she's just messing with him, obviously. But from later in the episode, I think she's kind of testing his pliability, like how, if he will kind of listen to people.
And pretty much showing him, hey, this is not much different from what we had.
It's absolutely no different.
Yeah.
That's what she's showing him. We also see Pershing in his new job, which they're not using him at all to what his abilities are. He's just like reviewing tech or something for the New Republic of the Old Empire. They're kind of tearing it down and taking it out and things like that. But that nice little light moment between him and Elia Kane, she's building a relationship with him, which is going to come into play later in the episode. Also, some of those yellow cakes show up at his door. Those little yellow snacks show up at his door in like a little box.
He mentioned he loved those.
Them. Yeah. So I think we all can know that Elia did that because she was the only one who would know that. The next scene we get is him going into a session with a robot, with one of the droids, and kind of it's creepy to me, this scene. It's very creepy because the robot's like, you know, are you, you know, having any bad thoughts? Are you doing this kind of stuff? And it's like, we're treating these people as not human, really. We're not even giving them a real person to talk to. So, again, I think we're showing the failings of the New Republic and why the First Order would come back into play, that these people are not being treated as humans. They're being treated as criminals, essentially.
Leia was a terrible leader.
Mon Mothma.
Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
Leia, Han. Han was gone. Yeah. But
So we're really showing these people, the New Republic, as incompetent. To be honest, in this, because they're not being what they should be for these people. Amnesty means you're forgiving these people. They're not. They're worried about these people constantly. So we get this little meeting between him and a robot, and he, of course, answers the way he's supposed to answer. But you get kind of like the guy's a good actor. I can't remember his name, but he's a good actor because you get this kind of tinge of like, hey, I'm not being given what I need to be given here. I can do so much more, and I want to help everybody. And I believe everything.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not 100% sold on this.
Yeah, I think he really does want to help whoever he can help. He's a scientist. He wants to do what he does, but his cloning projects are outlawed by the New Republic. Even in the opening scene with him, you see him talking about Camino and the cloning and things like that, which is pretty cool.
That was from
a callback.
From
Attack of the Clones,
season 1 too.
Yeah. So he goes back and he ends up back with Elia Kane, and she kind of talks to him like, "Do you want to help the New Republic?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want to help them, but they won't let me." You know, and she's like, "Well, what do you need to help them?" And he's like, "I don't know, a mobile lab and some equipment." And she's like, "Well, what if you could get it?" You know, and she doesn't seem like a bad guy, but she's kind of wanting, you know, kind of pushing him towards things that maybe he shouldn't be into. But I also see the benefit because he's saying they don't understand the help I can give them. So he's kind of seeing that benefit as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop talking for a minute.
Yeah, no. She's, you know, you can clearly see that she's wavering too. So,
yeah, she clearly is.
Yeah, and that actress and him, their moments in this episode are some of the best in Mandalorian.
It's really good reaction.
You know,
like
I love how the Mandalorian jumped away from Mando to do this.
Yeah,
to kind of. It says something.
You want to say it? World build.
We're going to talk about world building here, but it says something about Filoni and Favreau. How they have to make up for the lack of the movies.
Yeah. Yeah, they're clearly setting up.
They're making the movies more understandable.
Most definitely.
You know, with these TV shows than the movies were. I mean, they're doing such a great job with this show. And/or this. I mean, they're really getting deep down in the nitty gritty of Star Wars. And it really shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. No, we shouldn't
to be honest.
Build the world outside of the movies, but they're going to have to do it anyway.
So, that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, no, you're dead on.
Yeah.
You're dead on that. So, Pershing goes back to his like menial job they've given him, and he's like, he talks to his like supervisor, I guess. He's like, I can really do more than this because there's more I can do, and his supervisor's like, hey, just do what you're told to do, basically. So
9 to 5, get out of here.
Yeah, just do what you're told to do, get out of here. So Pershing kind of at that point decides that he wants to do his research again, and he goes back to Elia and said, hey, I want to do it. I want to go at the mobile lab. What can you do? So they go on a little like adventure to go to the shipyards where they're disabling all the old Empire tech, like taking apart the Star Destroyers and things like that. And she's like, well, there'd be one on a Star Destroyer. I can get you where there is one. And so they both leave their specified zones, which they're not supposed to do. They disguise themselves in normal clothing and leave their specified zones to go retrieve this equipment that Pershing needs. Elia takes him on a train. The train is pretty scary for Pershing. He's very out of his element in doing this, and they're sitting there, and basically a robot starts coming down through the train. They're going to get recognized, so they have to move their way through the train. They end up on the back of the train. They have to jump off the train. Yeah, ultimately. It's a fast train, so it's kind of like I don't know if that's around that.
No ticket.
They get right. They happen to jump off right into a little soft landing pad too, which is very convenient.
Well, she knew where to get off.
Yeah, she knew what she was doing.
At
she
that
knew
time.
exactly what she was doing.
So I'll give it to them on that.
Yeah, it's okay. But he just, the New Republic is just putting him down at every chance they get. They're not respecting his genius, basically, is what it kind of goes for. And so he decides to do this with her. And she's like, okay, we're going to do it. So they get off the train, and they end up in the shipyards where they're disabling all this tech from the Empire, which is kind of weird because you think they just reuse this stuff, but they're not.
Yeah, that's a lot of good material.
Yeah. They could just recommission the Star Destroyers and stuff like that and call them like Star Savers or something.
But, I mean, it might like scare people.
Yeah, it certainly probably would.
Yeah.
So they go into the ship.
I don't know. We're talking like this is real life.
Yeah, it's real life. This is exactly what real life is like. So they ultimately go into the Star Destroyer and attempt to find the lab.
I guess it would be like, hey, the Luftwaffe, let's recommission these and fly them over England.
Yeah, but then, there's like Pershing is kind of like a Nazi scientist, like when it comes to that. We freaking gave Werner von Braun the lead of NASA.
We actually used
Werner von Braun was the lead of NASA, and he was a Nazi scientist.
Yeah.
So it's like, we did this.
More to come.
This is literally...
More to come with movies coming out soon.
That's right. So they're on the ship, and they get to the mobile lab. He loads up everything he needs in the mobile lab, and they hear a sound. And she's like, oh, it's just the ship selling. No worries. They go to leave, and then there's lights. There's people coming after them. They get out of the ship. They go across the
There's the... sorry.
No, it's okay.
There's the Knights of the Old Republic.
That's right. It feels like it.
Yeah, it did.
Feels
right
like
there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So they come off the
got really
ship,
excited.
and they're confronted by some officers of the New Republic, and we find out that Elia Kane is working with the New Republic to kind of entrap people like this, I guess. Yeah. I'm not completely convinced that she's all New Republic, though.
No.
And it comes later.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty obvious she was still working for somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's even some mention of Gideon earlier maybe having escaped or something
and
like
she
that.
came from Gideon's ship, so it's like, oh, okay. You know, she's still...
Her loyalties are
She's still out there, yeah. But for who?
Yeah. Well, at least in this part, she goes over to Pershing and takes the container that he loaded up with stuff, which she carries that off. We don't know what happens to that.
Yeah.
So, that's like the stuff he would need to start cloning again, essentially. And he gets arrested and taken into the New Republic, like, re-education center is what I would call it, and is put on a machine, which he says is a mind flayer. And there's a Mon Cal officer there. It's like, oh no, it's not a mind flayer. It's
not a trap.
Yeah, he does say
it's not a trap.
It's not a trap, which is so silly. But he's like, I've actually been through this once. It's very refreshing.
That's the one time. Yeah, that's the one time during this episode I was like, oh god.
He's got a southern accent too. It's
it's not a
it's
trap.
very refreshing.
Haven't heard that.
You're gonna like it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, we don't erase your memory and all that. So they started on him. He's getting like these lightning bolts in the side of his head, and Elia Kane is in the room where it's controlled from, and the Twi'lek officer is like, yeah, you can stay and watch. She's like, oh, I'm gonna stay. I was friends with this person. I want to stay. He leaves. The Twi'lek officer leaves, and she just turns it all the way up on him. So it's going to completely fry his brain.
Goes nuts. Yeah. And then it ends.
That's where we end this storyline. So yeah, what'd you think of this whole storyline? I kind of blew through it.
I was kind of shocked by the route that they went.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is not Mando, but they're using Mando to bring in more things, just like, when they did Boba Fett, they brought in Mando. I think they're using Mando to bring in other things now.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
So, they're kind of piggybacking on Mando to make the world kind of mesh.
They're kind of pulling it all together.
Yeah, they're pulling it all together, which I appreciate.
Oh, yeah.
You got a lot of scenes from episode 2.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite?
My favorite.
It is. Fans. Or one fan.
Don't trust
It's
him.
his favorite. But yeah, you got a lot of scenes from episode 2. From like going through the city to even, going out to where they kind of questioned, what's his name? The scientist.
Yeah.
That was all in episode 2 where they got shocked and all that, trying to get out to Palpatine and whatever.
I don't want
At the
to
point,
talk about that.
Yeah, we'll go back and watch it so you can remember.
We already did. You can find it on the YouTube channel.
But I loved this episode.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It's great. It's a great episode. So yeah,
2's my favorite. 3 is really good, but I love where they're going with it.
Yeah. So yeah, this whole part was excellent to watch. I like Pershing. I like the guy who is the actor.
It almost feels like Riz Ahmed.
Yeah, it does. It's very similar.
Yeah.
And Elia Kane's actress, she needs to play a certain part that's coming up in a certain show of a certain season on HBO Max that maybe starts with the last and ends with the Of Us.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Yeah, she needs to. She's perfect for the role that is coming up in the further seasons of that. So, yeah, I really liked it. But moving on, we jump back to Mando and Bo Katan. Mando takes Bo Katan to the planet where his covert is, where the armorer and Paz Vizsla and the other kind of children of the Watch are. And he goes to meet the armorer and says, "I have bathed in the mines of Mandalore, and here's the proof." And she takes it and pours it in the water and sees it's the truth. And she says, "It is the truth. You are redeemed. You are, part of us again." And she also points out that Bo Katan bathed in the mines of Mandalore as well, and that she is redeemed.
She's
and
good to go.
A part of them now.
Yeah.
And you get people were talking about they wear masks all the time, but the way they use body language in this is so good, because Bo is kind of like, all the love she's getting, all these people patting her on the shoulder and basically hugging her and stuff like that. She responds to that.
Yeah.
She responds to that. She feels that in the community of these Mandalorians that she has not had for a very long time. I
mean, how do they eat?
They lift it up and they drink the pog soup.
Yeah.
I do wonder, it's they have relationships and things. Do they?
This thing has to come down. They got to be like, eh.
They not even take their mask off for their wives or husbands or whatever.
Yeah.
It's are they doing the nasty in the mask?
What do you think about this?
I mean, seriously,
yeah.
It's very odd.
Oh,
but
that's got a mask on it too.
Yeah. But that whole scene, Bo Katan is feeling the love of this community, and even though she thinks it's a cult, I think she kind of gets the appeal of it.
I think she's been told that her whole life, though.
Yeah. She gets the appeal of it, and I don't think it's out of the question that Bo Katan can't influence them either into thinking that maybe they need to change their rules too.
And she's been alone for a long time.
Yeah,
every time we've seen her in this season, she's been sitting on a chair.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. So it's
and all her people left her.
Yeah, she's been a little lonely. Everybody left. So they're kind of accepting her.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
Yeah. It's a great little scene to end the episode. It's very short, not very long. But Bo Katan and Mando are back in with the fold of and that's the thing. The convert refers not only to Bo Katan but also to Dr. Pershing. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The title very
goes
much
both
works
ways.
across.
Yeah.
So,
and we gotta. I'm not gonna leave it unsaid. We got a little fallen order in this too, with the shipyards.
Yeah, the shipyards fallen order for sure. Yeah.
So
most definitely.
I don't know.
Jedi Survivor.
Maybe we'll get one redheaded. Jedi. Little Cal Kestis. Just saying.
All right, so that's the end of the episode. It's a terrific episode. I really liked it. As I said, the first. I think it's setting up for a lot in the future. I don't know if we'll see anybody from Coruscant again. I have a feeling that Kane's going to be back in the fold at some point. Pershing, I think, is done. We're done with him. He's gone.
It was a great Mandor episode.
Mandor, correct. Yes.
Mandor episode.
TM. Mandor TM.
Yeah.
Don't try to steal it. We trademarked it. It just did. All right. Anything else to say on the episode?
No. Watch it.
All right. So we will see you next time for Mandor. Mandalorians episode 4. We'll be back live at some point, probably Friday, I would guess. But if you want to email us, you can email us at basementmovieroom.podcast with an S at gmail.com. Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/basementmovieroom, youtube.com/@basementmovieroom, or on Twitter @movie_basement. We're on Facebook as well, Basement Movie Room on Facebook. So if you'd like to join us, ask some questions, definitely come in, and we will see you next time.
Please ask us questions.
Please, may I have a question?
The boys just want some questions.
That's right.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.